Hi everyone, welcome back to the series. In the last episode we added in wave control. So now our game, when we start it up, spawns in a random wave of enemies, and when we completely destroy all of them, it'll spawn in a new wave 3 seconds later. Now in this video we're going to be focusing on creating some pickups. So we're going to have a health pickup, which will add 1 bar of health to our player, a lives pickup, which will add 1 extra life if we manage to get one of those, and we'll also add in a coin pickup, which will be used later on in the shop series, or the shop episode should I say, to buy upgrades for our ship. Now we are going to need a few new scripts, and we're going to be amending some of our existing scripts. There's going to be a little bit of work, but nothing too complicated, so let's just jump straight into it. So the first thing that we're actually going to want to do, we're going to want a couple of methods so we can actually add health and lives to our player. So if we open up our player script, if we can find it in this mess, there it is, we'll add in 2 methods. We'll add in a public void add health and also a public void add life. And these are just going to be very simple. It's just going to be an if statement. So if our ship stats dot current health is equal to our ship stats dot max health. So if we're currently at max health, we can't give our player any more health. So we'll just give them a bit of score for collecting the pickup. So we'll call our UI manager dot add score. Oops, sorry, it's update score. And we'll give them 250 points if they're at max health. So if they're not at max health and we can actually give them that, we'll call shipstats.current health, we'll add 1 to it, and then we'll call the UI manager dot update health bar, and we'll pass in our current health, just like we did at the start. As simple as that. So now we have a way that we can actually add health or score dependent on the player's current state. And it's going to be very similar for the add life. So if we're currently at max lives, then this time we'll give 1000 score. Because our lives are going to be quite rare to spawn, so it's a bit unfair if we don't give them a good amount of score. And we'll increment our current lives by 1, and we'll call update lives and pass in current lives. As simple as that. So our player script is completely updated. Now we need a few new scripts. We'll close down our prefabs, keep everything nice and tidy, and we're going to start by creating a pickup script. So we open this in Visual Studio. Now this script is going to be inheritable. So we have, we're going to have 3 pickups, like I said previously, health, life and a coin. So all of those are going to have some related functions. So there's no use rewriting all that code for each one of them. So we'll hold this in the pickup class. So we won't need our start method in this one. And what we're going to want to do, when a pickup spawns, we want it to move downwards, just like our enemy bullets do. So we'll set transform.translate, we'll move vector2.down times, you should know this by now, times time.delta time times a fall speed variable. So we can add in a public float fall speed. And now this is where we're going to get a little bit more advanced. We're going to be taking advantage of abstract classes and methods. So if we mark our pickup class as abstract, that means that we can declare a method without a body, which in this instance is very useful because what we're going to do, we're going to create a public abstract void called pick me up. And as you see, we just cap it off straight away with a semicolon, and we don't have the curly brackets for the method. So this you can think of as kind of a placeholder. Any other script that inherits from pickup needs to implement a pick me up method. You'll get a compilation error if that script doesn't have a method called pickMeUp. But what's useful about it is inside of our pickup abstract class, we can still have a private void on collision enter 2D. So if we check our collision.gameObject.compareTag, if we collide with the player, we can call pickMeUp. So regardless of which one of our pickups collides with our player, we'll call the generic abstract method pickMeUp, but each of those scripts will have their own interpretation of what pickMeUp should do. So that'll make a little bit more sense in just a second, because we're going to go ahead and we're going to create another script. We're going to call this pickup health. So inside pickup health, we don't need the update and we don't need a start, but instead of inheriting from mono behavior, we're going to inherit from pickup. Now, pickup itself inherits from mono behavior, so in essence, pickup health also inherits from mono behavior as well, just not directly. But as you can see, we have an error already, and this is because we aren't implementing a pickMeUp method. So the way that we need to do this is we call public. We need to match that identifier. So it's public in pickup, so it's going to be public in pickup health. Override, because it's an abstract, we are overriding, oops, fat fingers, override. We're overriding the existing reference of pickMeUp. Void will match that as well. It's a void in pickup. And again, we'll match it perfectly with the case for pickMeUp. Now, by default, you'll get a system not implemented exception. We can delete that. All that's saying is we've created the override and we haven't actually done anything with it yet. So what we can go ahead and do, whenever our health spawns and it drops down, we collide with the player and we'll call pickMeUp, which is in fact declared inside the health pickup script. So what do we want to do? We'll take advantage of GameObject.findGameObject with tag, and we'll find our player. Now on our player, we'll get the component player, and we'll call the addHealth method that we've just written. And then we'll destroy the GameObject. Simple stuff, that's all we're going to need for our health pickup. So let's do the exact same for our life pickup. So we'll call this pickup life. Open this up. Exactly the same. We're going to inherit from pickup. We're going to remove our start and update. And just for ease, what we can do, we can highlight our error that we get, click on our little IntelliSense light bulb, and it'll let us implement the abstract class and it'll do it all for us. Just a bit of a time-saving trick there. So this time we'll do the same thing. We'll do GameObject.findGameObject with tag player.getComponentPlayer, and we'll call the addLife method. And then again, we'll destroy the GameObject after we've collected it. So already we can see how useful that abstract method is. We've only needed to declare it once in here. We only need one instance of onCollisionEnter, and that'll trigger pickMeUp. But if we hit, or if a life pickup hits us, we'll call this version of pickMeUp, which will add a life. And if we hit a health, it'll call this version of pickMeUp, which will add health. Cutting down on that boilerplate code, making everything a little bit more reusable. So we'll go ahead and create our final pickup, which is going to be our coin. So pickup coin. Open this up, and you should be able to do this all by yourself by now. I think I've hammered this home, how you do this enough. Well, we'll inherit from pickup, delete start and update, bring in our abstract class, and then this time we're going to call UI manager dot update coins, and then destroy the game object. But we still don't actually have anywhere where our coins are saved. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a very small inventory script. And inside our inventory, we don't need it to inherit from mono behavior. We'll make this a static class and we'll just add in a public static int current coins. So what we can go ahead and do is we can call inventory.current coins. We'll add one coin to that and then update. So inside our UI manager, let's see what happens. So we don't actually do anything for update coins yet. So all we are going to need to do is take our inventory reference of that coin and just put it up on screen. We can call instance.cointext.text is equal to inventory.current coins, and we'll put that to string. And that should be working perfectly fine. So we can go ahead and attach our scripts to our pickups. Now, we've already created our pickups in one of the earlier tutorials, so these should be in the prefabs. So we'll start with coin weights at the top. We'll open this up and we'll add in our pickup coin. And we'll put in the fall speed of 7, for example. So that should be our coin finished. We'll go in with a life pickup. We'll drag in our pickup life, add the fall speed again. And finally, we'll go in with our health pickup and drag in pickup health. So now we have those prefabs that should be working perfectly fine. Another thing we're also going to want to do, for all three of our pickups, we're going to want to add in our destroy after seconds. Because as soon as if we miss the pickup as it drops, we don't want it to drop down indefinitely. So we'll destroy this after 3 seconds. And we can right click this component and copy it, open up our life, and we can just paste this component as new and we'll have our 3 seconds in there. And we'll do this for the coin as well. Paste component as new. Now we won't have objects floating around. But now we need a way to actually spawn in these pickups. And we'll do this inside of our individual alien script. So in here, what we can go ahead and do, we can create 3 public game objects, and we'll make this the coin prefab. We'll make it a public game object, life prefab, and a public game object, health prefab. And we're also going to want some chances in here as well, because we don't want all 3 of these to have the same chance of actually spawning. We want the coin to be the most frequent, the health to be the second most, and life we want to be relatively rare. So again, we'll use some constants for this because we don't want to change the chance. So we'll create a private const int life chance. I'll just initialize that at 0. Private const int health chance, and one more, private const int coin chance. So where we want to determine whether or not we're going to spawn one of these prefabs for killing an enemy is in our kill method. So after we remove this from our alien master list, we can create a local integer. We'll call this ran, and we'll make this random.range between 0 and 1000. And then we can just do a few if-else statements inside here. So if ran is equal to our life chance, we'll instantiate the life pickup at the transform.position of the current enemy that we've just killed, and use quaternion.identity because we don't want to affect the rotation. Else, if ran is less than or equal to our health chance, we can copy this line of code, but instead of spawning the life prefab, we'll spawn the health prefab. And then finally, one more else if our ran is less than or equal to our coin chance, can paste this in and we'll spawn a coin prefab instead. So the way this is going to work is if we set some values up here, so life chance 1, so we'll have a 1 in 1000 chance of spawning a life. Health chance can be 10, and then coin can be 50, for example. We can always tweak these values later on. So if we kill an enemy, and a random dot range brings us back the value of 1, then the first check that we do is the life check. If we are 1, we'll instantiate that, and then carry on our merry way. If it's not, we'll check the second one. So, for example, random brought back 5, this would return false. So we go into here, is ran less than our health chance is 10, we have 5, it is, we'll spawn our health, or else if it isn't, we return 25 for our random chance, we'll hit coin chance, and then we'll spawn. If it's anything greater than 50, we won't spawn anything, and we'll just carry on like we did before. So we can save that, and we'll need to attach all of our prefabs to our alien prefab. So we can select all 5 of these, lock our inspector, and then we can bring in the coin to the coin prefab, the health to our health prefab, and our life to the life prefab. And then we'll go ahead and unlock that. So we can play this. What I may have to do is I may have to tweak those values so they're more common, just to show you that everything's working as we expect. But you never know, we may get lucky and get a life on our first shot. No, we don't. Okay, so, oh, there we go, we have a health. But we don't have collisions working at this point yet. Why don't we have collisions? That's why. We need to select our health pickup, our life pickup, and our coin. We need to add a rigid body 2D to all 3 of those. Set these to kinematic and use full kinematic, like we did with our bullets. Let's go in and change these values just so we have a higher chance. So we'll give it a 50-50 chance of spawning a coin. So we should be fine for spawning it, and we do. But we're still not hitting pickups. Why is this? Because our player isn't tagged as player. We haven't needed to tag our player yet, so that may be why. Wave 1, everything spawns. We can shoot, get a coin, and I pick it up, and our coins increment by 1. We get 2, 3. Everything seems to be working hunky-dory. So just to test the others, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we'll take our coin chance back down to 50. We'll see about getting an extra life by making this 1000, and just really quickly we'll add that less than or equal to rather than just equal to. So now every enemy that we kill should give us a life, but we won't see this life drop off. We should get our 1000 score. And we do, plus 50 for killing the alien as well. So that seems to be working fine. And one more, we'll double check that our health is working. And I think we gave ourselves 250 for this one, didn't we? And we do, plus 50 for the alien killed. Brilliant. So right now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to perform a few more checks. I'm just going to make sure that the health increments by 1 if we don't have full health. So I'm going to try and get hit by an enemy. So I'll just pause this and do what I did in the previous tutorial and disable the blockers. And let's see what happens. We get hit, we go down to 2 health up here. If I shoot that, we go up to 3. And then when we're already at 3, because that's my maximum health for this ship, we get the score. So let's just watch ourselves die once. We disappear. We could do with the explosion there, actually. Health doesn't reset after we respawn. Let's have a look at that. So we'll take that back down to 10 for now. And this should be in our player script. Player. So in our respawn, we set our current health, but we don't reset the UI. So we'll do UI manager dot update health bar, and we'll pass in ship stats dot current health. So now that should, when we respawn, reset our UI to be a full health. So that about does it for this tutorial. Now we have pickups, we can increment our health, we can increment our lives, and we're starting to collect some coins for when we actually make our shop in a later tutorial. So in the next tutorial, we're going to go slightly more advanced, and we're going to create our saving and loading functionality. Now I'm going to be using binary serialization for that. I do already have a full tutorial on binary serialization, which I'm going to be sort of mimicking for our instance as well. So there may be a little bit more information in the full tutorial than is going to be in the next episode, but I'll try and cover as much as I possibly can. You're going to still learn something, I hope. So make sure you check out the next tutorial, and I'll see you over there.